What is up, dudes? Today we're gonna be talking about this rice I got here. It's xfce4 using bspwm as the window management process or application or tool or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna preface this with a little bit of a ramble. It's gonna be quick. Um, so for the longest time, up until probably just a couple years ago or maybe 3 years ago, I used Linux solely to facilitate me being on Discord, playing RuneScape, and downloading crap on torrent, and just general browsing the web. I didn't care to learn anything else aside from it. I didn't care to learn any of the ricing. But at some point, it was just like, boom, here we go. I want to try this bspwm thing out, right? So I install Endeavor OS. It has it built into it. I'm like, sweet. I can just play with this already pre-configured one, and it's going to be golden. And then it got to the point of ricing polybar. And I'm sorry, dude, but ricing bars, I've done it for Waybar, I've done it for polybar, and a couple others. There's only been a certain couple circumstances where I felt good about it. And that's basically when I jacked somebody else's stuff and just changed the color hex on, on it and called it good. Um, I was never able to really fully build out something myself that I really liked from scratch. And I don't, it's not anything on myself and it's not anything on the software. It was just the time in my life. I was still drinking and I didn't fucking care and this and that. And you know, fast forward a little bit through that, I got frustrated with the bar. I got rid of the bar. I was basically using starting up Variety just so I could have a clock on the desktop and just using it like that. No tray, no notifications, no nothing. And I used that forever like a caveman. And this is so ridiculous now that I'm thinking about it. And then I tried Tint or Tint 2 or whatever. That worked pretty good. And I don't know, it just never felt cohesive. And then one day I was zipping around looking at stuff, and I seen some weird ass thing when this guy was talking about, oh hey, I use bspwm with xfce4, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of fire. Like the idea of that's cool, because okay, if you matched it with anything else, it wouldn't make sense because you have this heavy desktop running in the background and then the tiling and all that. But it's like lightweight and lightweight mixed together equals a third of the weight, and it feels good, right? So I had ran that rice for a really long time. I ran this just about a year, and and that's when I moved on to cinnamon. But which is funny because I just got really frustrated with the tiling and certain circumstances. But now I've learned my way around it. So let's get into the rice. Now that I'm done rambling, let's talk about the process of what needs to be done here to get this in the state of nice, I could take this and move it over and move it back and all the good stuff, having all your keyboard shortcuts. Actually, we'll do a neo pitch. Having all your keyboard shortcuts set up and everything good to go. As you can see, desktop environment, XFCE, window manager, bspwm. All right, let's get into it. What you want to do, first of all, before you get it in your head that you're just going to install bspwm and then log out and then log back into it, that's not going to work. Or you know what I mean, like install xfce, log in back in, and do all. You want to get everything set up before you go. And what I mean by that is you're going to need, at minimum, two configuration files set up. And at maximum, the third would be Compton or PyCom or whatever you want to use for a compositor. Um, I'm foregoing the compositor And that actually just makes the whole scenario easier because the only window that I care to be like transparent is my terminal. And I don't care for like crazy animations. Like the point of me using this is that it's super light. You know what I mean? Like, and it's snappy. Like you see how snappy that is? That's real nice. So what you got to do is set up all your configs first. All right. Let's go into my bash history. I'll kind of show you what I installed, and then you'll get an idea of what needs to be done. All right, if we scroll up a little bit. So the first thing you want to do is this. And this would be the same on Debian, but it would be sudo apt install xfce4 space xfce4 dash goodies. And then you want to do the same thing with this Compton sxhkd. I hate this sequence of letters. bspwm. And I'm not using uLauncher. I took uLauncher off and installed Rofi. So this fourth one would be Rofi. And I recommend that. It's light, it looks good. Now, once you get all that stuff installed, you want to start make drives. So you want to make your drive for bspwm in your config folder for all three of these. Or if you're not using this, don't bother with it. And I'll show you another way. You could actually just go in here manually, just open up your file manager, and you're going to press Control H to show hidden, and you'll see all these extra folders with the dots. And then you go in here, and then you would create your folders for those two. And then inside there, you want to create a document. So you can do that by, empty file and then name it this bspwmrc. And then for the other one, right, it's going to be the xfce4 one, right? And once you have these empty files, what you need to do is you're going to want to look up some configs of people, right? I said that backwards. You're going to want to look up people's configs. So I would usually do like bspwm dot files or bspwmrc, and then just pick one and go in here. Let's see, config, and you go into their bspwm folder, and then you look at this file right here. And like this is a real decked out one, but you only really need certain parts of this, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's see, I should have this pretty much right. Yeah, right here. As you see, mine's real simple for this, because xfce is going to handle a lot of the stuff that is in here. So you only really need the window rules and like the theming stuff, like this kind of stuff. As you can see, I have, yeah, all that stuff. Now, the way that these configs work, I'll just give a brief overview, is it's just going to go through all of these things and then just set all these parameters right at the start. And you're wondering, how do I do that? Well, this is the part where it gets sketchy. After you get your bspwmrc set up exactly the way that you want it, and you get and the most important part, actually, let's look at that one real quick. The xfce4 RC, you want to get all your keybinds. You want to at least be able to get to your terminal and your file manager, right? At least set those two, because then you can easily get back in and set all this stuff. But you go in here and you edit these to like the keybinds that you want for the things that you want. And then this is what you do after that. After that's all set up, we go to settings. And then the first place you're going to want to go is keyboard. And what is it? Is it these shortcuts? You delete them all. Delete every single one of them, because if any of them are in here, xfce4 will not work. And that's what's handling all your shortcuts. So after that, what you want to do is go back into your settings and go to session and startup. And if you go to current section, I don't have it here because it's deleted, but you're going to have one called, what is it? xfce4. And what you do is you would go in here and you would quit program and delete it off of here and then save session. Now, what this is doing is it's using the session. So what a session is, if you don't know, is you can have a whole bunch of programs set up the way that you would normally want to set up, save the session, and then every time you restart and log in, it's going to just open everything up in that session the way you'd have it again, which is really convenient. You know, if you want to get into using that, I don't personally use it because I like, manually opening everything because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, that's how you would do that. Now, in order to get everything else working, you have to go to this application auto start right here. And you want to add some stuff, right? You're going to add bspwm. And if you go into here, if you see edit, all I have here for the command is this, right? And then, like Compton, if you're going to be using it, and then xfce4, right? Edit. This is going to be like this. I need to touch back on Compton for a second. If you're going to be running like PyCom or Compton, you're going to be wanting it. You're going to want to put this dash dash config and then have it pointing to the configuration file in your home folder in your configs. And then do -B. And what that'll do is as it starts up, it'll read that config and load it on into the session. So that's kind of really important if you're going to be using that. Now, I can take this out because I'm not using that anymore. Yeah. So after that, it's all basically set up, right? So you have your session saved, the current session the way that it should look like this, right? And then you have your auto start with bspwm, sx, hkd, and then whatever your compositor is going to be. Now, when you go here, you're going to log out. When you go to log out, there's going to be this save session for future logins. Do not click this. Keep this clicked off. Number one, if you open something up and then you just quit out and it's there, it's always going to open up when you start the session, and that's annoying. So make sure that's clicked off. Reboot your computer and then come back in, and then you should be all set up. And then you can fix a couple things. You can have your Rofi, blah, 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 all that. Bada bing, bada boom. The bar, let's look at the bar for a minute. How I have mine set up. Actually, let me bring this into floating. I got to set a window rule for that. With items, I've ripped out a bunch of the stuff. I have two clocks because one is doing the date and one is doing the time. For whatever reason, it won't let me set it up so it's just beside it. So I have two different ones. My application menu, I've gone in and edited it. I've changed the icon, taken the title out, changed a couple of these things. And then, yeah, that's it. You're good to go after that. I mean, you mess around with the theming. If you go to appearance right here, you can download stuff. When you're looking at these, it's going to be like GTK themes. If you're familiar, they're easy to get. You could do that through your package manager. You could do that through Git. It gives you icons, fonts, all the good stuff in here. Yeah. And that's it. That's how I do it. I know I have my cursor set really big, but that's because I'm becoming an old man and I can't see. What else? Oh, and then the workspace switcher, workspace settings. The more of these settings you add, the more off-center your crap is going to be, or the more workspaces. Like, I could probably do with, like, a couple more. I don't know. But this is, oh yeah, okay, I remember what I was gonna say. This is not set by wow, I'm such a burnout. This is not set by XFCE. You have to actually edit that in your bspwmrc right here, this line monitor, and like I can add like because I'm looking right now, it's not really centered, so I can probably add like a couple more workspaces. Shift I, go into insert mode, and let's say I want to put 5 and then 6, exit out, right, and quit. And then when I restart, it's going to be having that there. There is a way to put the keystroke for restarting bspwm. I just haven't set that up yet, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. I believe this is going to be the end of the video. That was a long explanation. I hope this is enough for you to get it running. Feel free to comment. I'll reply and try to help you out. There's documentation. Actually, I should show this one page. This guy has a great, I've read this article and a couple of other ones. Let me see. Right here, Noob's Guide to bspwm with xfce. If you go through this basically step by step, it's mostly the stuff I said. I've added maybe a little more detail than what's here, but this is a good start. And then a lot of these issues you can figure out yourself. And this isn't going to be a super hard thing. It's just going to be definitely above the level of using something like Cosmic Desktop or GNOME with Pop Shell, or Cosmic Epoch, or all those things I've done videos about recently. It's going to be a little more involved than that, but it's not as involved as fully doing it, because as I said, you're skipping a lot of the configuration in bspwm because xfce is handling like your notifications and it's handling a lot of that other stuff. All right, so that's going to be the end of my video. I hope you have enjoyed. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. I will be having more videos coming out. Yeah, and thank you for watching. We will check you later, my guys, my dudes, and my dudettes. I want to die.